Alrighty, boys. So this is gonna be a trade recap as of Tuesday, November 4th for the people in the US and the 5th for me. So Wednesday for me. Um, Trade overall lasted about you know two minutes pretty much, but it was probably like 10-20 minutes into market open. It was a 1.52 risk reward, so not too bad. But we're gonna do a analysis from pretty much just top down, starting from the daily, going to the entry. Um, daily. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so basically, what we've seen is we reached all-time highs. We were a pretty bear market. We were probably going to bounce back up off of this. Right, we had this daily fair value gap, but overall we can say we are pretty bullish still, apart from this little this in my opinion readjustment. So the daily didn't really matter much to me. Coming in on the 4-hour though, we had this 4-hour over here, and this was supposed to be take profit. I'll get into it a bit later on. Right, and then we had this 4-hour over here, and then so dropping down to the 1 hour. 1 hour wasn't really that important to me. Kind of all I saw at that time with the 1 hour was literally just us filling in this. I'm pretty sure that is contract rollover, so we can use that. I realized you can use it as a gap. Oh no, that's Monday market open, pretty sure. Yeah. So we had this gap up. Didn't really count that. So we counted us pretty much just being in that little daily fair value gap. And so, but it was more the 30-minute where it started getting a bit more into detail. So right around over here, we saw that NQ was inversed that FEG, right? But on ES, we ended up respecting that fair value gap all the way through, not sweeping this liquidity over here. And then so dropping down to the 15-minute with NQ inversing the 30-minute FEG to the downside. It was pretty obvious that there was probably some sort of lower FEG on the lower time frame that wanted to be filled. And I mean, literally there was a 15-minute FEG over here that got tapped during pre-market. We got a reaction on pretty much market around a couple minutes into market open. And so basically dropping down on the 15-minute, we can see that ES dipped down to that same 15-minute FEG, and then market tapped in, expanded a bit, and then we came back down. If we drop down to this is kind of, I skipped the 2-minute and the 3-minute. I went straight down to the 1-minute as soon as we got in that 15-minute FEG, looking for entries to that 4-hour fair value gap. And then we can see, right, we dip into it pre-market, expand, then we take out a decent amount of, we take out these two trendline liquidity points, right? We took out these two trendline liquidity points on, I think it was both pairs, both NASDAQ and ES. So usually when it gets taken out on both NASDAQ and ES, it's more, in my opinion, I prefer that over an SMT most of the time. And then you can see, coming up pre-market, where's that high? Yeah. These two highs get swept. We dip down. We can see that actually on NQ, we closed on the one below the 15-minute, but if you look at the 15-minute, it was still respecting it over here, right? So dropping back down to the 1-minute, I was waiting for NQ. NQ was kind of like my lacking, the lacking one in my opinion for the trade I took. And so coming in only 1 minute, this is kind of like right around where I entered. So as soon as we got this up move, right, we inverse. So this is that 15-minute. I'll actually just mark it out, should be easier. $15-minute on both pairs got tapped, so that is extremely good. And then we can see that ES had a very strong up move, resulting in this little inverse fair value gap, right? So this IFEG, pretty sure, you know, wasn't a 2 minute. It was definitely 1 minute. I looked for on NQ. Go back to it. And so basically on NQ as well, you know, came in and we inversed. So pretty much what I did, this was another IFG. So I kind of used the two confluences from two different pairs to take the trade on ES. So basically what happened was, you know, NQ was, in my opinion, on the lower time frame, didn't respect the 15-minute. Higher time frame, yes. Lower time frame, it dipped down too much for me to actually take the trade on NQ. Whereas ES, perfect respect on the 1 minute, right? And then so when we inversed this on NASDAQ, but you see we inversed on NQ as well, but we dip and we close below this IFEG, not respecting the IFEG, and then we just pull back straight to the 15-minute. Whereas NQ respected, right? So what I mean by respected is like we inverse and then pull back into the inverse, right? 50% level of that inverse as well, which is good. So I used NASDAQ's inverse IFG pullback to the 50% level for my ES trade, and the 15-minute respect was the main reason why I took it on ES. And then so entered, stop loss was 50%-ish level. Pretty sure it was like right around there at first. It doesn't really matter about, it was when I logged on, it was like this. Because, you know, I have to take the trade literally at like 3 in the morning, so it's like I'm hitting the bed, you know, I'm not gonna like instantly make the videos. I did later on in the day. And so basically what we did, as soon as we got this respect off of the inverse respection on NASDAQ, we had a nice clean change of state over there for me. As soon as that happened, we had a pullback on this candle open, and then pretty sure it was this candle, and I entered right around, it was either between these two candles, but the order was sitting right there. And then so I took profits way too early, but it was for good reason and for bad reason, right? Mostly psychology reason, which I'm going to explain. And then so, you know, came in, had all this trend line liquidity to be taken out. We smacked TP. I had 2 contracts, so I actually had a, I'll get into that now, but, and then I took both contracts off on ES right at this, pretty sure it was like a little, I think it was a, yeah, over here. Right, so right over there at that 1 minute FEG. Did I take it off too early? Yes. Did I? Good setup, right? A+ setup in my opinion. I did take it off too early, partly because I struggle with keeping my winners running. That's something I really struggle with, and I think it's kind of like part of the reason to like show myself, you know, that I can trade. You know, 1.52 hours is still incredibly great, but you know, I had one limit order. You know, I had a limit order. I reached take one contract off and then another one over here, and I mean, I literally would have got it if I just sat on my hands, right, and trusted my analysis. But it's not that I don't trust my analysis. It's just like, when you see that you are in profit, it's like, oh, you want to close to show yourself that you can trade. And that's really something that I struggle with, just because I haven't taken trade in like the past 2 weeks. So when I did get a trade, it was like, especially with this big up and it was like, oh my days, green, I should close. It's a 1.52 hour. It's great. But then you lose out on the rest, right? Which is, I'm not mad about it, but I am disappointed that I, didn't trust my analysis and just let it run. Move stops to break even, just let it run instead of taking both contracts off. But still ended up taking out some trend line liquidity, tapping this 1 minute. As we can see, when we tap this 1 minute, we sweep to the side, we started accumulating a bit. But that accumulation literally was just so that NASDAQ, like I said, NASDAQ was really the lacking one for last night. Well, this morning, not last night, this morning was definitely the lacking one because it needed a big pullback for that expand move. So overall, good setup, but I really should work on, letting my winners run and letting my losers, have tight stop losses. I don't have a problem, like, me personally, with losing money on like the stop loss. It's just I don't add, or like I don't let my winners run and like get more pot. But I think part of the reason, because I don't want to be greedy, and also I want to prove to myself that I can trade. But there's the trade recap. Solid trade. I'm pretty sure everybody and their mom had to take this trade because this was literally the most clearest trade ever. But that is the trade recap. So I hope everybody has a good trading day tomorrow up until Friday. I'm pretty sure there is news on Friday, but not Thursday. Obviously, double check. But yeah, so that's the trade recap. Hope everybody enjoys, and subscribe or you like men. If you don't subscribe, you like men, okay? But yeah, good setup. Peace.